Good evening. We certainly want to respect your time. It's 6 o'clock, and so we're going to go ahead and get started.
Sí, muchísimas gracias. Vamos a empezar, vamos a respetar su tiempo. Ya son las 6 de la tarde, así que vamos a iniciar.
I am so glad you are here tonight. For those of you who don't know me, I am LaTanya Goffney. I'm the proud superintendent of Aldine ISD.
Sí, y estamos muy orgullosos de estar aquí esta noche y les presento a nuestra superintendente, la doctora Goffney.
And I'm excited because yesterday we did a similar presentation for the MacArthur staff, and so we had the whole staff. And on my way out, I heard these voices coming from the room, the theater. And so I went in the theater, and oh my gosh, the choir was amazing. It was amazing. So I got to see that. I also got to engage with our HOSA students, and guess what they did? They sold me a shirt. And so for those of you who don't know, Wednesday is, we wear pink in Aldine as we think about Pink Out and also cancer awareness. So really proud to represent MacArthur today. So I took my jacket off. So those of you who are following online and those of you who are here tonight, so our host of students will know that I wore the shirt, and I'm really excited about representing MacArthur.
Y estoy muy emocionada de estar aquí el día de hoy, ya que tuvimos la oportunidad también de tener una reunión con el personal también de aquí. Y cuando estábamos terminando la reunión, cuando ya estaba saliendo, yo podía escuchar las voces de los muchachos en el teatro. Y cuando me regresé, estaban ellos ahí practicando. Y la camiseta o la playera que traigo hoy puesta es una playera que ellos me vendieron porque estamos celebrando este mes. Y los miércoles nos ponemos el color rosado.
And I'm excited to be joined tonight by our school board member, Ms. Rose Avalos. Let's give Ms. Avalos a round of applause.
Le damos un aplauso a nuestra representante de la Junta Directiva, la señora Rose Avalos.
A little known fact, or maybe it's a widely known fact, Ms. Avalos served as teacher, counselor, principal. Teacher, assistant principal, and then principal, all here at MacArthur for how many years? 33. For 33 total years. I think she deserves a round of applause.
Y un dato súper importante acerca de la señora Ábalos es que ella sirvió aquí en estas instalaciones por 33 años en diferentes posiciones o trabajos que ella desempeñaba.
We say Mac pride never dies. Oh, and she graduated from here. We love Miss Avalos because let me tell you, leadership matters, and she has, in her time, in her space as a leader in Aldine, she has created hundreds of other leaders that are serving throughout our district. So one more time for Miss Avalos. So grateful
Un
that
aplauso
she's with
para
us
ella una
tonight.
vez más. Estamos muy agradecidos por su liderazgo en el tiempo que ha estado aquí en Aldine.
Also, we recognize that upon that strong foundation over the years, other leaders have come, and we're really proud of the new, she's not new anymore, you can't use it anymore. This is year three. Ms. Shauna Showers is the proud principal here at MacArthur. Let's give it up for Ms. Showers.
Y también por la principal o directora de este establecimiento que lleva aquí 3 años con nosotros.
And we also have a neighboring principal, excited that he is here tonight, Mr. Hetty, principal of Rose Avalos P-Tech. So thankful.
El director de Rose Avalos también nos está acompañando el día de hoy.
And I see one of our SAS, Miss Watson, Dr. Watson's here. Dr. Nguyen, I was in the SAS for those 2 schools. I was looking for Dr. Rodriguez. But listen, let's give it up for all of our SAS. SAS, raise your hand. Assistant Soups, raise your hand.
Y un aplauso para el departamento, todos los directivos que están aquí con nosotros esta noche.
And you'll be hearing from some more chiefs, and they'll be available to answer your questions towards the end. But again, we're excited that you came out tonight. We recognize there's a lot of competing interests, lots of different events. There's Hispanic Heritage celebrations. There are different other events. I think there's a meeting for those who want to go to Greece in another room. There's all kinds of excitement that's happening in our community, but we're so thankful that you came tonight to hear some exciting news in Aldine.
Y estamos muy emocionados de que nos acompañen aquí esta noche. Van a estar los jefes disponibles para contestar cualquier pregunta. Yo sé que es una noche demasiado ocupada con muchos eventos en el distrito. Están celebrando el mes de la herencia hispana. Aquí también tienen otro tipo de celebración, por lo cual les agradecemos que nos acompañen esta noche.
Also, one more round of applause for our hosts tonight, our AP art students who are amazing. And if you don't believe it, go check out the artwork.
Un aplauso para nuestros estudiantes que son de aquí mismo y tienen acá su exposición de arte.
And this is their first piece as part of the AP work, and it is absolutely incredible. They have numerous more pieces to go, but I'm telling you, a life to go in creating beautiful art for all of us to enjoy. So thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for hosting. You guys could be anywhere, so we appreciate you for being here.
Y les agradecemos mucho por estar aquí con nosotros esta noche y por esta exposición que han hecho para nosotros esta noche.
And for the reason that you're here, the excitement that I can hardly contain is the fact that as we think about the journey, I came in 2018 and I was really fortunate to open up 8 schools, 6 new and 2 replacements as part of the 2015 bond.
Sí, y yo me siento muy honrada de
Aldine
estar aquí
ISD.
esta noche con ustedes. Llevo desde el 2018, desde el tiempo que llevo aquí, ya hemos podido abrir 8 escuelas, 2 han remodelado, 6 han...
Open 6,
Se abrieron 6
replacement
y
and 2.
se reemplazaron 6 y se abrieron 2 más y eso se hizo gracias al bono del 2015.
But you're all familiar with those new schools. And so as we have been doing more work, part of our baseline of determining where we were, we looked at all kinds of assessments this past 5-year period, whether it was looking at our audit of our curriculum, it was looking at our transportation audit, we did a technology audit, we did a PEMS audit. We audited every single thing over a period of time. And then in few years right after COVID, we also want to look at our facilities because we recognize not only was there a phase 2 for the original bond for 2015, but also we wanted to look at all of our different facilities.
Y durante los últimos 5 años hemos podido hacer diferentes tipos de evaluaciones al currículum, al transporte, también las edificaciones, a las instalaciones, lo cual pudimos evaluar después del COVID-19, perdón.
So in 2022, we basically want to do a facilities conditions audit. Also, we did an educational suitability assessment. And so we want to look at every single one of our facilities. And you think, okay, what's in a facilities conditions assessment? Well, it looks at roofs, it looks at mechanical issues, it looks at plumbing, it looks at the electrical, the lighting. It looks at all those different things to determine the condition of our schools. And then the educational suitability assessment looks at how our buildings are able to make sure that our students are engaged and our teachers are able to teach.
Sí, en esas evaluaciones hicimos 2 evaluaciones, la cual es la evaluación de las instalaciones, el cual se hizo para mirar si las instalaciones cumplían con la ley estadounidense, también para ver si tenían el sistema de cocina, de electricidad y de los parqueos, y también se hizo la evaluación a la educación, y también eso fue para mirar si tenían los recursos necesarios para que tengan un buen desarrollo.
And what we found was, from the data, 25% of our schools were over 50 years old. And if we were to repair every single issue at all of our schools today, it would cost over $1 billion. And over the next 10 years, it would cost $2.7 billion. And then when we looked at our educational suitability assessment, where we fell, and it was 39% of our schools scored a 70 or below.
Sí, y cuando miramos nuestras escuelas, el 25% de ellas son de más de 50 años, lo cual se va a necesitar muchísimo dinero para poderlas poner al día con todo lo que se necesita. Si lo quisiéramos hacer en el día de hoy, se gastaría más de $1 billón. Por eso se ha hecho un plan de trabajo para los próximos años, el cual va a ser más dinero aún.
So at the beginning of the year, all this information was shared at our board meeting, went over all of the different assessments for all of our facilities, looked at where we were, and then we launched a long-range facilities planning committee. And that committee was comprised of over 60 community members. And those community members, some of you in this room served, leaders, teachers, parents. We had a cross-section of different members of our Aldine ISD community to come together, not only take a look at our facilities conditions assessment, take a look at our educational suitability assessment, looked at demographic data to see where we were and how we were growing or not growing, and also looked at all of our financial outlook for our district, and basically they were encouraged to dream and to think about their hopes and dreams and aspirations for their students in our schools.
Sí, y para ese propósito y con los análisis que se arrojaron, se creó un departamento o un grupo de líderes del distrito que se llamaba el Grupo de Planificación a Largo Plazo, el cual estaba analizando todas esas informaciones que se recibieron de todas las escuelas y para poder mirar cuáles son los proyectos que se pueden hacer a ese largo plazo.
And what we realized immediately is we didn't have enough resources to take care of all the needs. First of all, the committee decided, hey, they want to rebuild all of our 83 schools. Well, we knew we couldn't do that, and we didn't need to do that, but there were some significant needs that we do need to address, and so they were able to look at prioritizing those needs in a way that we could make a presentation and a recommendation to our school board to call a bond so that we could take care of those needs in our district.
Sí, y la idea de ese comité es poder mirar todas las mejoras que se tendrían que hacer. Por supuesto, se quisieran reconstruir todas las escuelas, lo cual nunca se podría hacer. Entonces, de ese estudio, de esos análisis, lo que hicieron fue hacer una recomendación a la junta directiva para que se llamara a un bono.
So at our August board meeting, our board called a bond election for November 7th, totaling $1.8 billion.
Y en esta reunión de la junta directiva, se tomó la decisión que se va a pasar el bono por $1.8 billones.
Aldine ISD is committed to providing choices and opportunities for students just like me. It's the last years of Aldine's 5-year strategic plan, a new way forward, and we've made a lot of progress. It is important that we keep moving forward so that more students can benefit from the work that is being done right now. As my uncle always says, there's always more to do. Then, someone in my family always asks the same question: how much is it going to cost? Well, some of the work in Aldine that needs to happen requires a voter-approved school bond to cover the cost. I bet you are thinking, what is a school bond? School districts in Texas only receive funds for daily operations. Things like construction, fixing buildings, and buying new technology aren't always covered in the regular budget. That's where a school bond comes in. A group of Aldine community members met a whole bunch of times to figure out what was needed and what the district could actually afford. They looked at data, heard from presenters, asked a lot of questions. Then, they decided that it was best to focus on 3 super important things that create the kind of learning environments needed, so we can focus on what's really important, learning. First up, safety and security. Police officers are real-life superheroes, but they can do it alone. We're adding basic things like stronger fences and more lights. There are more fancier safety systems too. They all go a long way when it comes to safety. And then there are facility enhancements. We have some older schools that need to be brought up to the same standards as the newer ones. And finally, instructional technology. Haven't you heard? Technology has changed the classrooms. There are some really cool new tools and apps that take learning to another level. Of course, there are more details. I could go on, but we don't have a lot of time. The bottom line, our Board of Trustees agreed with the community members and added a school bond to the November 7 ballot. All that's left for you to do, get out there and vote on Tuesday, November 7th. In case you need more information, we've packaged it all up at aldineisd.org/bond2023.
So we have 3 areas of focus. Number 1, safety and security. And perhaps the one thing I'm most proud of, I'm proud of a lot of things in Aldine ISD, but I'm most proud of the fact that we have the best police department in the country, and there is no question. So grateful, so thankful for the leadership of Chief Cordova. If you'll wave your hand. Chief Cordova has assembled a great team of police officers who are passionate about not only keeping our schools safe, but keeping our community safe, because a large part of our district is unincorporated. Our police department not only takes care of what's happening at the schools, they also take care of what's happening in the community as well.
Sí, y contamos con 3 áreas de enfoque o de interés. La primera es la seguridad y la protección, la cual me siento muy orgullosa, ya que para mí tenemos el mejor departamento de policía de todo el país, y aquí nos acompaña el Chief Córdoba, y él es el director, el encargado de toda esta organización.
Another little known fact, our police department is open 24 hours a day, day, we have 3 shifts. Most districts, including my previous districts, they just worked normal school hours and they were on call at night. But our police department is open 24 hours a day. And part of this, and you're going to hear specifically in each proposition, but part of increasing our safety and security is also about the different film, the different fencing, the different lighting. But the one thing I'm most excited about is the fact that we're going to move our police department to a centrally located place and maximize the capacity of our police officers to continue to keep our community safe.
Sí, y un dato muy importante que me gustaría resaltar en esta noche es que nosotros contamos con un departamento de policía que está abierto las 24 horas del día. En otro trabajo anterior en otro distrito que tuve, solamente los departamentos de policía trabajaban por el mismo horario que los niños, pero aquí nosotros contamos en nuestra comunidad con un departamento que está 24 horas al día abierto, por lo cual vamos a entrar más a detalle en un momento, pero una de las cosas que estoy más emocionada es porque vamos a tener unas nuevas instalaciones para que ellos se puedan desarrollar de una mejor manera.
The second one is probably the largest area, our facilities enhancements. As we talked about, many of our schools are older, and so under facilities enhancements, you're going to hear about rebuilds and redesigns. You're also going to hear about some of those things that are not as exciting, such as new HVAC, as well as new roofs and all of those different things. But the one part that makes me the most excited is the one for our Education and Performing Arts Center. I'm super excited about that. Refugio, I'm trying to learn to pronounce your name correctly. I've been calling you Refugio for 5 years and you never correct me. And my friend told me that is not how you pronounce his name. So let's give it up for our Executive Director of Fine Arts, Refugio, but he's Refugio.
Sí, la siguiente es la categoría de las mejoras en las instalaciones, la cual abarca la mayor cantidad de dinero, ya que ahí es donde se incluye todas las mejoras a las instalaciones, plomería, tejado, todo ese tipo de cosas, pero también un nuevo centro de educación y artes escénicas del distrito, el cual tenemos aquí el director con nosotros esta noche.
This past weekend, our students had an opportunity to perform in front of about 6,000 school board members and superintendents. And when I tell you it was phenomenal, like literally, people are still talking about the performance, still talking about our talented students, and also still sending emails, Refugio, telling us how wonderful, how beautiful, how amazing, from rural Texas all the way to Dallas schools, everybody saw how great and talented our students were. And that's important for many reasons.
Sí, y quisiera resaltar que el fin de semana pasado tuvimos una reunión, una convocatoria de muchos distritos escolares con muchos directivos y los niños de estos programas tuvieron la oportunidad de participar, por lo cual nos elogiaron abundantemente, nos han estado mandando correos electrónicos de todas partes rurales y grandes ciudades de Texas para felicitarnos por nuestros grandes programas y por el talento que hay en nuestros niños.
And we don't hesitate to make sure that our athletes have what they need. But did you know, a little known fact, our school district has nearly 60,000 kids, and of those, 50,000 of our students participate in some type of fine arts or visual arts or some type of creative outlet. 50,000 students.
Sí, y es importante también que mencionemos que de nuestros 60,000 estudiantes, 50,000 hacen parte de algún grupo o equipo de artes escénicas o artes plásticas.
And perform amazingly. And unfortunately, though, and Refugio can speak to it better than I can, many times during the performance is when they get to hear appropriate lighting, is when they get to experience appropriate sound and acoustics and all the things that I don't know about because I wasn't a creative person, but I recognize the inequities. This past week I was at a Region 4 meeting that was held in Sci-Fair. They have a performing arts center. And when you walk in, their beautiful art is not lying on a table. It's in a space that you can see. You walk in this room, and literally they have all of their students' artwork that it's like a gallery. And then you go into these facilities, these rooms, and their preparation rooms are like the sound is perfect, everything is perfect, and they're able to get a more realistic experience than our students who only get the experience on competition day. And they're not as prepared as others who have that type of experience. And so our fine arts teachers have to create those types of experience and those types of things. And this is something that we can get right today. I understand that Education and Performing Arts Center has been discussed for many years in our district before I arrived and since, and so we want to make that a reality for our kiddos.
Sí, quisiera compartirles que el fin de semana pasado estuve en una reunión en Cypher y tenían un centro de artes escénicas grandísimo, todo súper bonito. No tenían el arte de los niños así expuesto en una mesa como lo tenemos acá esta noche. Tenían todo, parecía una galería de arte. Estaba algo fenomenal, lo cual yo pienso que nuestros estudiantes también merecen lo mismo y eso es lo que se propone aquí en esta noche.
And the last area of focus, of course, is instructional technology. We recognize that during COVID, the best thing that came out of it was we were able to go one-to-one. All of our students have devices, but we also recognize that devices don't last forever, and there has to be a replacement plan. In addition, there has to be the infrastructure to make sure that the technology works. And so we want to make sure that our students are future ready, just like all the other students across the state and country.
Y la siguiente categoría es la tecnología educativa. Queremos que los estudiantes estén listos para el futuro. Como entendemos todos, la tecnología también se va envejeciendo y necesitamos actualizarla y que los estudiantes tengan la infraestructura necesaria para que puedan ser exitosos.
And now we're going to hear from our Chief Academic Officer. She's going to walk us through every proposition. Let's give it up for Dr. Cantu.
Okay. Yes, I get the joy to talk about the different propositions, and you heard about proposition A, B, and C. So we have them all divided out, and I'm going to go through each one in just a minute.
Sí, como ya lo mencionamos anteriormente, vamos a tener 3 propuestas que son A, B y C, y voy a hacer la A.
Yeah, she's good. We're going to do it like this. All right, so let's look at Proposition A. So Proposition A includes campus rebuilds and campus redesigns, and I'll go into that in a minute so you can see the difference. It also includes safety and security, transportation, technology infrastructure, and then also facility improvements. And then Proposition B is only instructional technology, and Proposition C will be our Fine Arts and Performing Education and Performing Arts Center.
Sí, y las propuestas A, esa es la general, es donde vamos a estar teniendo la reconstrucción y rediseño de las escuelas, de igual manera el mejoramiento a las instalaciones. La propuesta B es donde va a ser la tecnología educativa y la propuesta C, el nuevo Centro de Artes Escénicas y Artes Plásticas.
All right. Okay, so here's all that's included in Proposition A. Okay, so you see it's over a $1.6 billion proposition. And so we'll talk about the first one, campus rebuilds. So on the campus rebuilds, you'll see there we have a list of 6 schools. So a rebuild is a campus where we are starting from the bottom. We're starting from scratch. So we would take the building at that site and we would remove the building and we would start from just the ground, starting from the very beginning and then build up. And we are looking at that right now. You heard about the facility assessments. You heard what we were looking at, the different facilities and what the needs were at each of them, and these were the ones that we identified, or that the committee identified. It's Carver High School, Aldine High School, Aldine Middle School, Hambrick Middle School, and then Orange Grove and Odom. So you'll see those schools on there as the rebuilds.
Sí, y como la parte de la reconstrucción de las escuelas es básicamente comenzar a dejar solamente la base de la escuela y se va a reconstruir, y las escuelas que están aquí en la pantalla que ella acaba de leer son las que se van a estar reconstruyendo.
Okay, so a redesign. So let's think about a redesign now. So this is where we've looked at the facility and we're saying the bones of the facility are strong. It's good. The facility it has good bones, good structure, but maybe we need to do things a little bit differently because of the type of educational programs that we want to have at that facility, or it just makes more sense if we do things we design it a little bit differently. And so I'll give you a really good example that our Chief of Operations, Mr. Washington, likes to give, and I think it's an excellent example. Let's look at Eisenhower High School. So Eisenhower High School right now, their entrance is on a side street. So I know the first time that I went there, I went down and missed my entrance into Eisenhower because I was following my GPS. Because it's on a side street, the main entrance faces an apartment building. So we would look at redesigning that facility, bringing it down again to the structure, and then turning the school so that the entrance is on Antoine. And so it's on that main street where we know the traffic is coming by, where we know there's development there. And so it would make more sense that it faces the front, it faces Antoine instead of the apartment complex.
En el rediseño de las escuelas lo que se propone es que son escuelas que tienen buenos fundamentos, nada más que necesitan ser rediseñadas. Un ejemplo muy fácil es la escuela de Eisenhower, que tiene su entrada principal está hacia unos apartamentos y muchas veces uno puede pasar por ahí y se puede perder. En el rediseño lo que se hace es que se va a mover de manera que quede al frente de la Antoine.
Yes, but you do see on this list, I want to make sure you see it on here, because MacArthur High School is on that redesign. Okay, so that's something that we're looking at. So I wanted to make sure that you saw that. Regardless of whether or not the school is a rebuild or a redesign, all of our schools, all campuses in Aldine will be touched by this bond. They will receive a touch point from this bond, and I'll go through that in just a minute.
Sí, y como parte del rediseño, si ustedes pueden ver la pantalla, también se encuentra MacArthur, pero independientemente de que las escuelas estén en la pantalla o no, todas las escuelas van a recibir algún tipo de beneficio de parte del bond.
Okay. And you can see that here we have the facility improvements, and so we're looking at digital marquees. So if you go across the district, you'll see that not all campuses have that digital marquee, and we want to be able to communicate with you. We want to get information to you quickly, and so we want to look at the digital marquees across the school district. We're looking at things like HVAC and making sure that we're able to maintain our HVAC system or upgrade our systems. And so we have their roofing, plumbing, things that are important, things that we know we need to be able to run efficiently and effectively. We also are looking at science labs. We want to make sure that we look at our science labs and then we provide the best science experience for our students by improving our science labs, and as well as athletic improvements. And so these are looking at athletic improvement projects that would be happening at our different campuses that are of need, and areas where we can continue to support the athletic programs at those campuses.
Sí, parte de este proyecto también son las mejoras a las instalaciones y el mantenimiento también a ellas, agregando marquesinas digitales, también el cambio de tejados, de plomería, de ventilación, también de laboratorios de ciencia.
Okay, and so we're also including in Proposition A, you also see safety and security. You heard that we have the best police department anywhere. And I know you say in the state, in the nation, we have the best police department. They're available to us 24 hours to the community, available 24 hours a day. We want to continue to provide that level of service to the community. And so looking at a dedicated district police department site, so moving them more centrally so that they can more quickly access all of the community and meet the needs of our community more quickly. And so we want to do that. And we also want to look at emergency notification systems, continuing to enhance the security features that we already have. We've done a lot of security features already. You'll know we have like our emergency identifications. We have our systems, but we want to provide more to make sure that our students and our staff and everyone feels really secure in our facilities. That includes the lighting. So when we leave tonight, we want to make sure that when we're leaving our facilities, we have excellent lighting at all of our sites, so we want to improve lighting as well as emergency generators, because we know that oftentimes in our community the power does go out, and so we want to make sure that we're able to continue to power our schools when that happens, so that we are ready and the kids can continue to experience a great educational day when that occurs.
La siguiente parte del proyecto es la seguridad y la protección. Como les decíamos anteriormente, tenemos el mejor departamento de policía que se pueda tener, pero necesitamos que ellos tengan unas instalaciones propias, y eso es parte de lo que se propone aquí también con esto. También sistema tecnológico de seguridad actualizados, el sistema de notificación de emergencias, películas de seguridad para los vidrios y vallado de iluminación. Por ejemplo, si salimos esta noche, que haya más iluminación para que sea más seguro para todas las personas que tanto trabajadores como niños estén más seguros.
So the next one we're looking at is Wi-Fi. So right now, was asked this: how many Wi-Fi devices do you have on you right now? Like, how many devices do you have? Do you have a cell phone with you? Raise your hand. Okay. Do you have another device that also accesses the internet? ¿Algún otro que usa el internet? ¿Algún otro dispositivo que usa el internet? No, a veces sometimes it's our phone, our laptop, our watches. So and then you multiply that. Let's say it's 2 items, and we'll multiply that times all the people in the room, our students. We want to make sure that we're able to provide the right infrastructure for our Wi-Fi system, and so we want to look at making those enhancements and improving that across of our campuses.
Sí, la siguiente parte del proyecto va a ser la infraestructura tecnológica. Básicamente, como nos podemos dar cuenta, todos aquí tenemos teléfonos inteligentes, tenemos portátiles, tenemos relojes inteligentes, los cuales utilizan la red inalámbrica o Wi-Fi, y queremos asegurarnos de que la tengamos de una manera más actualizada para que todos lo puedan accesar de una mejor manera.
Okay. So the last part of Proposition A is including the transportation, buses, and our white fleet, or the Aldine vehicles. And so we looked at the facilities assessment and saw that there was a great need for our transportation site. And so we want to make sure that we can rebuild that transportation site so that we can provide quicker access and better access to our kiddos for their transportation needs.
Sí, y el siguiente es el transporte. Queremos asegurarnos que los muchachos tengan todo el transporte necesario. Va a ser la reconstrucción de las instalaciones de la parte este, los autobuses para los niños y también lo que se conoce como la flota blanca.
Okay, there's a lot on Proposition A. So Proposition A has the bulk, but we have 67 million, or a little over 67 million here on Proposition B. And Proposition B is looking at the technology that our kiddos have in their hands, as well as our teachers. So we want to do a refresh. We want to make sure that we get the technology, the most advanced technology, to our kiddos and our teachers, so that they're able to continue to work on the next level educational programs that are coming. And so we want to refresh all of those devices. We saw after the pandemic that we have a lot of one-to-one. We did a lot of one-to-one work with our kiddos, and they responded well to that. And so we want to continue to refresh the technology devices that we have available. And so you'll see that on Proposition B. We're also looking at the displays that are in our classrooms, and the technology displays that they have access to during instruction. So we want to refresh those and provide more technology to our classrooms.
La siguiente, la propuesta B, que es de más de 67 millones, es básicamente la tecnología educativa. Nos queremos asegurar que todos los muchachos estén al día con todo lo que respecta a tecnología, con los portátiles, con todas las pantallas que ellos tengan en sus salones, y para que estén al día con todo con lo que está lo último.
All right, Proposition C. I'm excited about all of them. I really am. None of them are my favorite. They're all my favorite. But this one is just really exciting. And you heard Dr. Goffney say earlier about the presentation that happened this weekend at a conference we were at, and we were able to see our students like really shine. And they did the same presentation here for us at the MOC. And they did it during convocation, and it was excellent. It was so good when I saw it in August. But this weekend, seeing it, like she said, seeing it in a place where they had access, our students had access to the resources, to the right lighting, to the right equipment, they just shined. It was absolutely amazing. And we want to be able to provide that for our kiddos here in our district. And that's what this Education and Performing Arts Center would do. We would be able to have a site where we could, our students could learn how to use this equipment and these resources, and where they could also perform for the community, so that it would be just phenomenal to have this type of resource, this type of facility in our district for our students.
Sí, la propuesta C es la favorita para muchos, aunque no debería de haber favoritos, pero es el nuevo centro de artes escénicas. Como lo mencionaba la doctora Gaffney hace un rato, el fin de semana pasado los muchachos pudieron presentarse en un centro de convenciones muy adecuado para eso, lo cual nosotros no contamos. En agosto tuvieron los mismos niños, se presentaron las mismas presentaciones, y pues no fue el mismo nivel, y lo que queremos es que ellos tengan unas instalaciones adecuadas para que se puedan desarrollar y puedan sacar esos talentos que ellos tienen.
Right, so here is the overall bond proposal that's on the ballot. We have Proposition A, like you saw, the 1.6 million that includes the rebuilds and the redesigns. That includes the redesign for MacArthur, but also has the bond will touch all campuses, and you saw that with the roofing and the HVAC and mechanical. And then the Proposition B will include the instructional technology, and Proposition C is that Education and Performing Arts Center. So for each one of these would need to be something that the voters would have the opportunity to make a decision on, and so they would for everything that we talked about today, it would be they would need to make a decision on all of them, and we would want we want to provide you the information so that you're aware and you can make the best decision possible. The total bond package is here, $1.8 billion, and this is what we would need in order to be able to do everything that we just talked about with you today.
Sí, para poder llegar a hacer todo lo que hablamos esta noche con ustedes, se han puesto estas tres propuestas, las cuales suman un total de 1.8 billones de dólares. Es para que se puedan hacer las reconstrucciones, los rediseños, el nuevo Centro de Artes Escénicas, y solamente les ofrecemos la información para que ustedes tomen la decisión que ustedes gusten en el momento de votar.
Okay. All right. So the next thing you're probably asking, how are we going to do this? So I'm going to call up our Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Stan Osborne, to share with you more about this part.
Y usted se preguntará que cómo vamos a lograr hacer todo esto, lo cual vamos a pasar al siguiente jefe que nos va a explicar eso.
Thank you, Dr. Cantu. It's a pleasure to be with everyone here tonight, everyone's viewing from the community, those that have come out this evening. Glad to see you're here and glad to see that you're interested in what's going on at the school district. You just heard a lot of information about the propositions and the projects, etc. A lot's going on here. We need help here. If you heard the young lady from the video, she described that the state funds don't help with this.
Sí, muchísimas gracias, les agradezco que estén aquí con nosotros esta noche. Básicamente es explicar cómo es que vamos a poder llegar a lograr todas esas metas que nos hemos puesto, y básicamente es que necesitamos la ayuda para poder que esto se haga una realidad. El video que pusieron al comienzo también lo tenemos en la página del internet en español, si ustedes gustan más información.
Right now, if you're a property owner in Aldine ISD and you pay property taxes through Harris County's appraisal process. Right now, all property owners are contributing 30 cents, 30 cents of every $100 of tax assessed value of your property.
Sí, y en este momento, si usted tiene una propiedad, una vivienda aquí en el área de Aldine y paga impuestos al condado de Harris, en este momento está pagando 30 centavos por cada $100,000 del valor de la propiedad.
You heard us discuss all the projects. You can understand that it will take years to complete all the projects. We coordinated those projects with a financial structure of 10 years. In order to take care of this, in order for the school district to afford, and actually in consideration of the taxpayers, as little impact on the taxpayers as possible. So we said no increase for the first 3 years. The next 3 years, about 2 pennies per $100 of tax assessed value. And then overall, the whole 10-year period that you see on the slide in front of you, about a 10-penny increase. And then the tax rate, we would start to ask that the board assure that the rate would be going down by that point in time.
Sí, básicamente lo que hemos llegado a hacer es que para poder llegar a cumplir todos estos propósitos, es que por los próximos 10 años, ese dinero se pueda distribuir en esos próximos 10 años. Pero en los próximos 3 años, los contribuyentes no tendrían que pagar, no verían ningún impacto impositivo, sino que después del tercer año verían 2 centavos por cada año, lo cual no sería más a 10 centavos en el promedio de los 10 años del proyecto.
In summary of the tax impact, you've heard us all say every campus is going to be touched. You just heard us talk about the actual tax rate in your household. If your home in Aldine is assessed at about $100,000 and you have filed your homestead exemption, which is equal to $100,000, you would receive no impact. There would be no increase for you at all. Essentially, you would pay no tax at all. If you're of age 65 or higher and you are older and you've applied for your deferment, your taxes would be frozen and therefore there would be no impact for you. And again, remember, no change for the first 3 years.
Sí, y es muy importante que tengan en cuenta que todas las escuelas van a ser impactadas si este bono pasa. Que si su casa está evaluada por $100,000 o menos, usted no tendría que pagar absolutamente nada. Y que las personas de 65 años o más se les congele lo que están pagando actualmente por los taxes, por los impuestos.
We're asking you, please share this message. If this may not apply to you directly, I'm certain that there's someone in the Aldine community that you know that this would apply to. Please share the message. Please collect a pamphlet or brochure from the table and take with you and share that with your friends and neighbors. What, Fred? Yeah. In closing, I'd like to, what Chief Washington is giving me a signal about is to describe what happens to the community when all this works like it should. Remember, we talked about $1.8 billion.
Sí, y tal vez esto no aplique para usted, pero usted le pedimos que por favor compartan este mensaje con sus vecinos, familiares, para que podamos entender todo el impacto que también traería aquí en nuestra comunidad.
Over the 10-year period, via the impact study that we just completed, about $2 billion of influx of revenue would come into the Aldine vicinity. $1.8 billion access, right, generates and pays for projects. Those project managers, those construction companies spend that money in Aldine. Secondly, about 15,000 jobs would be generated over that same time period for the Aldine vicinity as well.
Y es importante tener en cuenta también el impacto que va a tener en la comunidad. Se van a generar muchos empleos, también se van a generar ingresos también para la comunidad, que la misma comunidad se va a ver beneficiada.
Again, I thank you for your attention, and we'll turn it back to Dr. Gaffney.
Muchas gracias por su atención y otra vez más con el superintendente.
Let's give it up for our Chief of Finance. If we can take it back to the proposition so everyone can see again as they're leaving, just to make sure that the impact for this area of the total bond, as you look at where it describes the options. Will you go back to that one? We have MacArthur, Hambrick that's in this area, Orange Grove, and we have Odom. And so in Prop A, the impact for this community is really strong, and it's an opportunity to really give our students the facilities that they deserve and to improve. And then, of course, the important note, in case you're not from this area but you're coming from a different school, is every single school is going to be touched. One more reminder, if you go to all three propositions, you see Prop A, B, and C. When you vote on November 7th, you'll go and vote, and you vote for Prop A, Prop B, and Prop C. So if Prop C passes and Propositions A and B do not pass, then we can't take money from Proposition C and apply it to B, or vice versa. So if only Proposition A passes, we can only use it for Proposition A. We can't take money from Proposition A and use it for Proposition C.
Y es importante entender que todas las escuelas van a recibir algo de que este bono se apruebe. Obviamente esta que estamos aquí en este momento, pero si usted es de otra escuela que no, tal vez no mencionó, solamente tenga en cuenta que todas las escuelas van a recibir beneficio. Y también es importante saber que para que pase este bono en su totalidad, tendría que votar por las tres propuestas. Si vota por la propuesta C y las otras no pasan, no se puede agarrar de ese dinero para hacer ninguno de los proyectos con estas. Entonces es importante que voten por las tres por separado.
And our goal is to make sure that as many of our parents, community members, and our voters have information. And so please don't hesitate to come and go over, go back community meetings, Here is our 4th community meeting. We're holding them in every single community, including going out to different churches. And so if you have a church, if you have an organization, if you have a homeowners association, or anywhere that you would like to get more information, please don't hesitate to let us know, and we'll come. We have another meeting for tomorrow at Nimitz, and our final one would be at Carver. However, please, we have lots of information. We will gladly come and share the information. Also online, there's an FAQ that has commonly asked questions, and if you have a question and we respond to it, we're going to also include that as well.
Sí, y vamos a tener más reuniones comunitarias como esta. Si usted quiere, puede invitar a sus amigos, familiares. Si necesita más información, se pueden meter a nuestra página del distrito, donde también tenemos más información, pues ya que es mucho lo que abarca este tema.
And we're going to ask our chiefs to come up, as well as our assistant soups to come up. And so as our parents are leaving, if you have a question, a concern, we also, if you have a question about the Proposition C, we have Refugio, our executive director of fine arts here, who can answer any questions. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. We have cookies and we have drinks for you, our parents and our guests. We appreciate you for coming out tonight, and thank you so much for choosing to live and send your children to Aldine ISD. Let's give our parents a round of applause.
Muchísimas gracias por haber venido en esta noche. En este momento todos los jefes del distrito van a pasar al frente. Si ustedes tienen dudas o preguntas, por favor no duden en hacerlo. De igual manera tenemos aquí galletas y bebidas para que también ustedes lo puedan disfrutar. Y muchísimas gracias por acompañarnos.